comedians can get other comedians more work than an agent or a manager. It's just that sometimes most comedians are very undisciplined, and they either just don't give back, they don't show up, who's got a problem, who's unreliable. So you get to the point where you can throw your hands in the air and say, listen, I'll just do my own thing. In fact, I don't need a comedian. Give me 3 governors and a politician.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
I think you should.
Maybe the world would have more fun.
Well, that's the whole thing. Okay, so you take emotions out of the ether and you put them into people's hearts. Somebody who's having a bad day, maybe they're getting dragged to your show, and that's an amazing thing that you do, and it's a talent and it's a craft that you're able to change emotions, like we said early on. And I don't know how comedians do it, but you do it in a cerebral way where you make them think, where you were just talking about the Air Force One, like, how would that work? And that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, how would that work? That would be pretty good. That would be pretty funny. And that's part of your talent.
If you remember a long time ago when we were in so many different wars, the comedians from L.A. were doing the USO comedy tours.
Yeah.
And that's when I started coming up with an Italian president, because I got to go see all these teenagers at war, never going to leave until they're done with their terms or whatever it is, a couple of years, right? So we entertained on this aircraft carrier. There must have been 5,000 Marines on this aircraft carrier, and just like the whole Bob Hope thing, we got out there to entertain. And there was a time where, if you remember, they said France didn't want to help America in the endeavors of the whole Osama bin Laden thing. So I walked up on stage and I go, you need me to run the country. If I was running the country and France didn't want to help America, I'll cut the head off the Statue of Liberty and I'll send it back to France. I said, don't mess with America. And these people just started screaming, right? But I was making that up then because it was happening in the news.
That's pretty damn good.
It's cool,
That's
right?
pretty damn good right there.
And then there was also another thing where they were saying that some of the American stealth bombers hit the wrong targets over some area, right? And I go like this, that might be true, but you got to get a guy like me to drive one of those planes, because if I hit the wrong target, they'll say, Mike, what happened? I'm like, the wind took it. I went to the left, it went to the right. What do you want from me?
Give it the old, forget about it.
And the thing is, these people are just screaming, laughing.
That's got to be a good feeling.
It's silly.
But that's got to be a good feeling to you. That's got to fill you up.
It does. And I was doing this whole thing about friendly fire. I said, you guys are talking about friendly fire. If I ever got shot in the ass by somebody, I'd be like, what kind of friend are you?
That ain't friendly.
After you said you were my friend. I'm bleeding.
A lot of overhears. Oh, I'm bleeding over here.
Yeah.
But God, I don't even know where to go. You just got off a cruise ship, too.
Yeah.
And is that sort of like a mini vacation for you, or is that that's a work thing?
It depends on what ship you go on. Some of the ships you have to do a show every night. Some ships you do 2 shows every night. Some you only do 2 or 3. Some you could be in front of thousands of people. Some you can be in front of just a couple hundred. It's a job, but you do get to see the world. I've been all around the world. So this last ship that I did went to Costa Maya, which I love to go. You see the Mayan ruins, and you go to the beach. You go to the Coco Cay Island. You go to Cozumel. And I can come up with jokes on the island and bring it back to the ship, and I'll do those jokes on the ship. They're not going to work probably Saturday night, but I was thinking to integrating them just a little. So one of my favorite jokes, and I tell everybody, this is going to be such a killing joke, you can't put anybody else on stage after me. The ships sail through the night, and in the morning, the captain comes over the loudspeaker. They wake you up with these 3 beautiful chimes, and the captain talks about what the ship did during the night, which to the average person, you really don't care. You feel like, oh, could you shut up? I got a hangover. Stop talking. So what I do is I say, but how much more fun would it be if it was me? But it's 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm still out partying. And I wake everybody up and I go, hey, everybody, listen. I kind of fucked up. We were supposed to pull over. I was talking to this girl. She was calling me captain. And the audience just starts screaming because, like, the audacity of this kid saying that. And it makes them laugh. So I know the whole next day when the captain does come over the loudspeaker, everybody in that room's going, wouldn't it be cool if we just heard him just once? We would crack up laughing.
Good way to start the day.
You should have worked it out with the captain where you did wake up one morning and said it.
Hey,
Hey, it's me, Mike Marino.
yeah, you listen, I don't know if you notice. That's the way I do it. But
Anybody seen a captain out there?
I fucked up. I love that. I fucked up.
I know we're supposed to be in Cozumel, but I think we're down by the Jersey Shore somewhere.
That's kind of like what I do. Now, when you go on these islands, people buy things for their friends back home. Everybody's selling T-shirts. Everybody's selling cups and mugs and shit. And there's this one place that sells marble tchotchkes. Like you can get a turtle, you can get some kind of a bird, all these things that you bring home to your friends and family to give them a gift, right? Well, they have marble penises. And I saw them in this place. So I had to talk about it in front of the audience. And you would think it's a pot pipe I think it's a paperweight. It's a penis, right?
It's right there on the table.
It holds your papers down. So
Sitting up like this.
I said to the audience, I go, me being me, I had to go in there and I said, excuse me, you work here? Listen, how much for the penis? You got anything bigger? Is there a bigger one? And then you go, how do you get it through customs? Who's this for? Well, I got this friend, Kevin. He needs a paperweight, and his papers, they're always flying. So I brought home this cock for him, and I said, why don't you just put that there? Looks good in your hand. And but they start laughing really, really hard because they saw it.
Yeah.
But I talked about it.
So it's really in the moment comedy.
Yeah.
You see something that day that everybody saw, and you can come back and
I can't stop laughing because technically, I really want to know what's it for.
It's funny how
You should have asked, like, did anybody buy one of these fucking things? What the hell are you going to use this for?
it's funny because I'm going to guess, growing up in an Italian household, you had the same cadence probably with your parents. Your mother said something, you fired back with what you thought was funny. What you're doing now versus you as a little kid probably got you a lot of backhands.
Oh, yeah, we used to get the shit knocked out of it.
You didn't go to Catholic grammar school, did you?
I did, correct?
Oh, yeah. So
and
you get the
now-
nuns that backhand you, pull your hair.
Oh, yeah. Remember the nun used to kick your ass?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, rulers across. I got that. Rulers across
That
the
was some
knuckles.
serious shit. They should bring that back in the world.
Yeah, you got that right.
Bring that back.
No. I got it. I can say whenever I got the ruler, it was always for something that I did. One of them, the nun, for whatever reason, had a pair of underwear in her desk, and I pulled them out.
Oh, listen, I never didn't deserve getting hit by a nun, but I get hit a lot.
But think about that. So what got you a backhand when you were younger has served you well. So when you were a little kid and they told you this is never going to get you anywhere, it's going on your permanent record, look at how well it served you.
That's true, too. Comedy comes from your past, comes from your day-to-day, comes from real life. My original act was all about driving my mother around. My mother came from Italy. She never had a driver's license. She never worked a job.
That's old
Her
school.
job was to make sure the kids were fed. So I had to take her shopping. And my mother was a classic. She'd walk into a place and you'd wait in the car, and she'd come back out and she goes, I got all the groceries that I needed. And I says, was your friend in there, the guy that owns the place? And my mother go, yeah, he was in there. I never liked him. I don't even like his kids, the sons of bitches that they are. The next day she'd be like, hey, how are you?
It's a friend, yeah. That's going back to the friendly fire thing.
Yeah.
So that served that. Sometimes you find it in the weirdest places, your vocation. And it sounds like this has just been a long journey for you. Now, I know in the comedy world, a lot of it is bringing people along, like Dice brought you along. You do that with comedians now?
Yeah. There's a lot of guys I've helped out. I've helped them structure, helped them write, helped them get gigs. Comedians can get other comedians more work than an agent or a manager. It's just that sometimes most comedians are very undisciplined, and they either just don't give back, they don't show up, who's got a problem, who's unreliable. So you get to the point where you can throw your hands in the air and say, listen, I'll just do my own thing. In fact, I don't need a comedian. Give me 3 governors and a politician.
But now you're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the way of a lot of comedians. Is it a good way to work out material? Is that what it's for? Or is it just you just getting around and bullshitting?
I like bullshitting. I like having people on the show. I like interacting with an audience all the time. So it gives you another outlet to interact with people. Yeah. You know, when I was doing my podcast the other night and I had the actor on the show, people were writing in, asking him questions, and we were giving back the answers. It's fun. It moves along very quickly. And it also sells tickets. People want to go to your website. They'll find out where you're performing.
It's got to get you great and sharpen your skills at improv and that quick thinking that you need to have on stage.
Well, when you guys were doing your Instagram live feed, you get people writing in from different parts of the country, maybe different parts of the state. One time I was doing the morning walk that I do, and some girl wrote in from Ukraine. And now all of a sudden it's a conversation with everybody who's watching and me and the girl in Ukraine, because they had the same questions I had.
Right.
Holy crap. Are you all right? What's it like? Are you near the bombing? And she started saying, first of all, she actually said this to me, you keep saying the Ukraine. It's just Ukraine.
It's Ukraine, yeah. It's
Stop
not
saying the. And I said,
Okay.
all right, I apologize, Ukraine. And she goes, we're in Poland. We left. And she started saying her whole story right there on Instagram, and everybody was watching.
You didn't ask her if she was in the Poland, did you?
No. Are you in the Jersey?
But that's
Which is weird because we don't say New Jersey. We just say Jersey.
They just say Jersey, right?
But nobody ever says York.
But we say the shore.
I do, down the shore.
When I was traveling and people asked me where I was from, it was when The Sopranos were being filmed. I would say, I'm where The Sopranos are being filmed. And then all of a sudden the questions just flew out because New Jersey, for as small as it is, has produced some of the greatest entertainers, some of the greatest films, some of the greatest actors down the line.
Musicians, everything.
And well, I don't know. I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
well, Frank Sinatra.
Bon Jovi.
Elvis came to New Jersey once.
Yeah, and he never came back.
Yeah, why would he?
That's the sequel.
Why would he? So mentoring these young comedians, it's because somebody did it to you. Do you feel it's almost your duty? Because there's space out there for everybody. We say this with podcasting all the time. You know, I'm not in competition with Your Mother's Basement. We're different. We're all out there in the ether, but we're not in competition with each other. That's why I never have a problem promoting anything of anybody else's. Do you feel that same way with comedy, that there's space enough for everybody?
Yeah, there is. There's room for everybody. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody could capture an audience. Sure, why not?
And you would have that opportunity. Maybe you find that diamond in the rough, that one who's disciplined, that one who tries to craft like you.
Recently, I think I did. It's a 23-year-old kid. He's coming to the show Saturday night, and I told him, just hang around with me. I'll introduce you to some people. I got him one show, and he stood in front of 300 people, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. That's rare. And he was clean, made it about his family, introduced me. We all went home, made some money, and I like the guy. His name is John Franklin.
Want to give him a mention?
John Franklin.
John Franklin.
Yeah.
We're going to have to take a look at him.
Yeah.
So where can we find you? Where can we? I know
right here.
Yeah, well, you're right here.
Right across the table.
Where can
So
you
when
find
you're
me?
not in your mother's basement,
All my social media is at Mike Marino Live on all social media platforms, even the TikTok thing. And my website's mikemarino.net.
You still on MySpace?
Nah, I wish I was.
You were friends with Tom, I know.
so we're doing this thing at Grand Saloon. You heard a little bit about it on our Instagram Live. It's our 2-year anniversary. Grand Saloon is actually one of our sponsors. It's a nice little family restaurant, family bar, pub. They have live music. They actually have comedians in from time to time. Nick has been very, very good for us. It's 940 Van Houten Avenue in Clifton, December 21st. I'm going to invite you there. Just you're gonna love it there. Not to perform, just
December
to be you.
21?
December 21.
I'll be in New Jersey.
You'll be in New Jersey. Hopefully you can make it.
I'll go.
I love you.
Yeah,
there.
that'd
The
be
word
great.
saloon.
Saloon. Oh yeah.
Who even says saloon anymore?
Nick does.
Nick.
from the Grand Saloon.
Well, then I'll go.
Yeah, Nick's
Yeah,
a good
it's
dude.
right in
That's right
Clifton.
before Christmas.
That's what we're doing. We're trying to bring
Wow.
people together for Christmas.
Well, that's our 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's our 2-year
So we're
anniversary.
going to have a party?
Yeah, a little bit of party.
What night of the week is it?
I think it's on a Wednesday.
Done.
It's just going to be, get people together. All of our listeners and everything. We're inviting them all out, all former guests. We're going to get in. We're going to do, maybe a little remote podcast from there. And
It's actually going to coincide when this airs. We're saving you because
December 21.
December 21. Don't worry, I'll text
December 21, I'm going to be at, what saloon is it?
you. Grand Saloon. in
At the Grand Saloon in Clifton,
940 Van Houten Avenue.
940 Van Houten Avenue.
They got spam on the menu now.
Spam, slices, you get 3.
They don't have spam in a can. They have the packet.
Spam comes in a packet. It used to come in a can because it was fresh. When it comes in a packet, it turns to Grimo, but it tastes nicer. I just did a commercial on your show.
It's
Spam a lot.
So what do you got coming up?
Well, hey, this Saturday night, November 26th,
Which
at 8 o'clock.
It'll be after this show's aired, so. But I'll be there.
You should have came to my show.
Where the fuck were you?
Hey, why weren't you there? We had spam. Everybody who came got free spam. 3 slices.
3 slices of spam. A packet of spam, not a can.
I'm actually looking forward to it.
All my shows are at mikemarino.net from now straight until 2023.
And we actually hooked you up with, you're doing something with Frontline Cigars. Was it December?
Yes, and you mentioned that just a little while ago.
Yeah, so Frontline Cigars is Steve Boyk. He's out of Chicago.
Yes, that's right, Steve.
Yeah.
I spoke to him on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I called him from Puerto Rico. I did. I was in Puerto Rico. It's free on a cell phone. And we were chit-chatting. He was talking about, the depression that he goes through.
Sure.
And I was telling him about what I go through and that we can't wait to meet and talk. And then I made him laugh because at that moment, I was sitting in a restaurant in Puerto Rico and I was having a chicken burrito and a hen went walking by. A rooster. They have roosters. They just walk around on the street.
You check his plumbing. That's
So
how you know it's a rooster.
I said to him, I feel a little bad right now. I'm actually having a chicken burrito, and there's a rooster staring at me.
I'm eating
like,
his
listen,
cousin.
I'm like, listen, I used to eat spam, but I switched to burrito. I'll go back to spam.
No, Steve's a good dude, and that's those fortuitous relationship building skills. Because here's how it happened. Mike was doing an Instagram live. Whenever I see you doing a live, I always tune in. And you invite me on. And when I went on, Steve had seen I went on with Mike, came in, and actually Steve made a good joke. I said, "Yeah, Steve's a good friend of mine." And Steve goes, "He knows me. I don't know him," which I thought was pretty funny. It was pretty quick at the time. But that's those relationship building skills, and that's probably served you well throughout your life. Now, you've done this for 30 years. You've had the highs, you've had the lows. It seems like more the highs than the lows, but I'm sure it was tough at some point. You've gone through some suffering, even though you make light of a lot of the suffering. What do you think it's taught you being a veteran comedian?
Well, I know I'm never going to do anything bad to my own self. I'm always going to do charities to let myself know that I have a great life. And there's people out there that need help.
They need to laugh.
You got to be grateful with what you have. Here's what I do for myself daily.
No, we don't. This is a family-oriented show.
Yeah.
Don't tell us.
I don't have any physical problems. My hands work, my feet work. I'm not aching, I'm not paining. As far as I know, my cholesterol's not bad. So I'm okay. So that I have. I have my health, and I know the value of that because I did have 8 inches of my colon removed about 8 years ago because I had a thing called diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis.
I got it.
And I thought I was just going to die. I almost wanted to die. I'm like, just kill me. But since I don't have it no more, I realized, okay, man, because when I was sick, I said while I was in that hospital, if I ever get out of here, I'm never going to complain about anything again. And I ended up complaining about shit anyway.
The next day.
But here's something that happened recently. Now, I'll say this on your show. These people are coming Saturday night to the show. A woman sends me an email and says, "How much do you charge to entertain at a wedding?" And I says, "Well, it'd be between this much and this much, but it depends on where, when, and how." She goes, "Well, it's going to be on this particular Saturday night, and we know you're going to be in New Jersey. We know that you're going to be at this club that night. we're going to have a brunch. I said, you're having a brunch for a wedding? And she said, yeah, my husband has stage 4 brain cancer, and I need to get him on my insurance policy right away.
Oh.
And I said, how old is this man? She said, 30. And I go, I'm free. There'll be no charge. Why does this have to happen? You're on his bucket list. He can't wait to meet you. He doesn't know I'm doing this. He loves you so much that I think this is going to be really good for him. And his doctor gave him 5 years. So I says, okay, I'm bringing a singer. I'm bringing another comedian. I'm bringing the cake girl, Marianne. She's going to bake a cake, and we got you covered free. Don't worry about nothing. I'm coming. And we went in there at 12 o'clock. We busted up this place. I had this guy laughing his ass off. I hugged him. I says, dude, what happened? And he goes, well, you know, this is what happened in my life, and the doctor diagnosed, and this, that, and the other thing. So I'm all happy that I got to do something for somebody that I'm saying to myself, look how lucky I am that I don't have brain cancer at 30 years old. And then the letters start coming. Thank you so much. I think you added 2 years to his life. And they're all coming to NJ Pack. All of them. His friends, everybody that was at that wedding.
I have no doubt in my mind that you put a couple years onto this guy because you made him forget about his problems. But when you do those things for other people, that's what gives you the perspective, because you got to see the bad before you can appreciate the good. Like your success now, you only appreciate your success because there was a time when you weren't successful.
Right.
Right.
And it's really paying it forward.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, that's a great thing and it must be fulfilling to you. You know, like you said, you did it for free. You told them that you were going to do it. It had to be fulfilling for you to see smiles on these people's faces and knowing that you put the smile on their face.
It's a little bit of a mind fuck. Am I really that big of a deal that I'm on your bucket list? Really? I'll be right over.
Yeah.
But I ain't on nobody's bucket list. I know that right
Even
now.
recently, I was on a plane, and this lady was coming in for a landing, and she goes, I hope you don't mind, but I took your picture while you were sleeping. I go, why would you do that? And she goes, my daughter's a really big fan, and I told her that you were here. And she's like, get his picture. And I go, well, why didn't you just take a picture while I'm awake? And she goes, I didn't want to bother you. And I go, this is hilarious.
So now you got drool coming down your mouth.
It's hilarious.
There's a picture of you sleeping, floating around somewhere.
No, I said to him, miss, you could just take a picture with me. It's not that big of a deal. So we took a picture together. And as soon as we had the picture taken together, it makes other people in the airport go, oh, you know what? Could I get one too? And I start to go, do I have that face that I look like some kind of an asshole, that I'm unapproachable? Because could you people tell me maybe this is why I haven't had sex in quite some time? You know, I'm a single guy. Maybe I should walk around smiling a little bit more.
Well, I have to tell you, Mike, I appreciate you coming in here. I thank you for coming in here.
Sure.
You are one of the most genuine guys I've met in a very, very long time, especially somebody of your status. You I don't want to say you earned the right to be an asshole, but there are plenty of people with your less famous than you who are absolute assholes, but that's not you.
Who think they're bigger than they are.
Yeah. This guy right here. Perfect example. Mike, thanks so much for coming
Thank you for having me on the show.
It was great meeting you, man.
This is great.
It was
I
a lot
look
of
forward to seeing you this weekend.
Now, do I get spam?
We'll get you. We'll hook you up with some spam. We get a nice little parting gift of spam.
fun. We'll bring it to the show and start throwing them on the stage.
I've been spammed.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Suffering Podcast, the suffering of a veteran comedian. Now, as always, let's think about what we learned. Sometimes a career finds you. Bombing can be a gift. Humor can be found everywhere, but most importantly, you got to laugh. And that's going to do it for this episode. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. Don't forget you can listen before you watch. Every episode comes out on Sunday, and then Monday through Friday, watch our new content. Follow Mike at Mike_Failace. Follow me at Real Kevin Donaldson. And, of course, follow the Suffering Podcast, and we're going to see you on the next episode.